How's it going, everyone? This is Luxeley. Hey guys, leave a like for the new intro. Put a lot of time, a lot of effort into producing it. Let me know your thoughts. Leave it in the comments. Going to talk about a few things here. We're going to talk about Isle of Conquest and why the Alliance loves this battleground. There's a good reason why. We're going to talk about Strand of the Ancients, which is probably not going to dredge up a lot of positive thoughts. And we're going to talk about the state of hunters in general, all three specs, BM, MM, and of course survival. But first I want to talk about it. I'm going to go over some really good strategy from the Alliance perspective as well as the Horde perspective of this particular battleground. Here's the main dose of reality. Dox wins this. Dox wins this if you're Alliance, mainly because of the proximity you have to Dox. A lot of times what happens, you get 20 Alliance going to Dox, you get 20 Horde going to Dox. The Alliance get there first because of the proximity, and they're usually clumped together, while the Horde tend to come in groups of 2, 3, and 4, and they kind of group their way in, piecemeal their way in, and that's not good. That's not good at all. So the bottom line is, if you're Alliance, you go Dox, and you have to protect the glaives. Now, you got to protect those glaives like you're Batman protecting a 13-year-old kid from a horny Joker, okay? You got me here? That's what you have to do. You got to protect those glaives. And the best way to do that, I'm talking to you guys that play Demon Hunters and you guys that play Death Knights, because you guys have the best toolkit to defend those glaives. Death Knights, Death Grip, pull them out of the way, lock them down with Chains of Ice. This works against melee. It also works against ranged, because you could pull a ranged player LOS of the glaives, so you can pull them out of range of the glaives. Now, of course, we know classes have mitigators, and you have to wait till those mitigators are up before you do that, but Death Knights, that's where you gotta be. Demon Hunters, Spectral Sight, best ability in the game to sniff out stealthies, and you usually catch them while they're still in stealth, usually catch them while they're not quite within range of the glaive yet, and that's huge. And you also have great toolkit with Imprison to just clamp them down, prevent them from doing any damage. Very important. Those two classes protect the glaives. Now, if you're a Horde, you want to be cognizant. That's a big word for saying be aware, which nobody ever is aware of what's going on in Battlegrounds. You want to be aware. And you can't piecemeal your way into a base. And this is true about any given battleground, but more so true in Eye of the Storm, or especially in IOC, okay? You don't want to piecemeal your way in. You don't want to piecemeal your way into mid and have 2 and 1 and 3 groups of people kind of meandering their way in. You want to go in one big wave of kick-ass. You want to be a shitstorm ready to coming in as one. I probably have to edit that out. That doesn't sound right, but it's true. You really, there's always safety in numbers in BGs, and usually that's a reality. So that's one thing the Horde needs to focus on doing. Another thing they need to do, and this is a great strategy, and that Alliance fanboy inside of me is just like, don't give them strategy, don't tell them what to do. Whatever. I'll help you guys out. Here's what you got to do. You just basically come from behind. That doesn't sound right either, but you flank Dox from the back way, because as soon as Alliance gets that base, whether they fight it, contest it, big scrum to get it, or they just take it without any kind of resistance. The bottom line is, and you guys have to admit this, I do this sometimes, it's like break time. You know, you get Dox, what do you think? I'll go pee, I'll go check my microwave popcorn, I'm gonna get a soda, gonna get a beer, gonna have a cigarette, whatever. You just figure, hey, I got about 30 seconds, I could take a break. And that is the best time for the Horde to come in and flank the Alliance from behind. I've seen it work many times, but they don't do it. Just gave it away. Now, the second thing you want to do if you're Horde, to counter these glaives, and I thought that this was a really good showing of both the Alliance doing things right and the Horde doing things right. And kind of once that occurs, the Alliance take a chunk out of let me try to speak English. The Alliance take a chunk out of the door, but they don't take the door out, and it kind of resets the fight. But the Alliance ends up prevailing just simply because the Horde just didn't play so well in the second round as far as executing that strategy. But the idea is, if you're Horde, you want to bombard those glaives from all different angles. You want to be driving down that ramp and then up the ramp, coming head on to the glaives. You want to be flying down on the glaives if you have any kind of slow fall or any kind of levitate, or if you're a demon hunter and you can glide down, you want to do that. You want to hit the glaives from the right side. You want to hit them from behind, because that creates quite a bit of panic on the Alliance side. That creates a little bit of confusion when you're approaching from all these different fronts, and it's a bit overwhelming, and it's kind of difficult. And the Horde did that and executed it well. And that's why, even though I only know about 7 people going to watch this video, because it's Isle of Conquest, that's the effective strategy for both factions. I always say I want this to be fair. I want to go up against the best because it brings out my best. I don't want to win an arena, a battleground, because of the class I played, or because I'm outgeared, or because I'm in a group, or what have you. I want to do it because I outplay people. I want to do it because I outsmarted them. I used my cooldowns better. I had a better strategy. I had a better approach. It just makes people better. And I like that challenge. Let me know your thoughts on that as we come in for the second salvo with the glaive. And of course, look at that. There's a Death Knight on the glaive already, and we're on them like white on rice and trying to take them out, and it works. And we're gonna basically take down this door. Now, I did say I was gonna talk about state of the hunters in general, BM, MM, and of course survival. About a month ago, I pop into a random BG with random people, and some guy asked this random question, right? Battlefield Ghanaians, random question. And he said, what class do you guys think is the weakest or most undertuned in PvP right now? That was about a month ago. And I started thinking, which is always a dangerous thing for me. I started thinking, I was like, Arms Warrior came to mind. And then I said, well, no, not really. Not necessarily. They can be kind of tough to kill. Not as tough to kill as a Fury Warrior, which essentially you have to call in a fucking drone strike to kill, because they can heal for like 32% every 8 seconds, which is better than most healers can provide. So, and plus they do big, massive damage. So, no, not Fury. Certainly not Rets. I don't know if you saw the clip in here earlier in this video, but the Ret pops his bubble and can achieve objectives without anybody hindering him, because he's got his bubble up and can basically global a glaive if he's got his bubble up. So there's something wrong with that as well. You want to point out at rogues. Well, rogues are, their survivability isn't that great, but they can do big damage, and they can sneak up on you to do big damage. They are more of a supportive role. I started thinking about mages, and then I said, no. Frost mages can global you very easily, and even fire mages can. Although I think they've been tuned down a bit excessively recently. And I really started going through all these classes, started thinking warlocks. I said, well, you know, warlocks, if they're playing with a rogue or a mage, they tend to have that extra CC that helps them get their whammies out and do some damage. Plus, they can take a ton of damage. So really, what is the weakest class in PvP right now? Now, before I give you the answer, what I think, I'd like to know what you guys think. Leave it in the comments. Let me know what particular spec in PvP. We're talking PvP. We're not talking dragon slaying or any kind of PvE. In PvP, what do you think is the weakest spec? Let me know your thoughts and why in the comments. Here's my thoughts, my opinion, for whatever it's worth, from my experience. A guy who plays jack of all trades with all these classes, really master of none. Whatever, that's the fun for me. I think it's Hunter. I really do. Now, the fact that Blizzard let Hunters out of the gate, particularly MM and BM, out of the gate without traps is absolutely fucking ridiculously dumb. I remember one of the first BGs I did, max level on my Hunter, jockeying alongside the guy with the cart in DWG. And in the past, I could create all kinds of havoc with explosive trap, with binding shot, with freezing trap, with my slow trap. I mean, I of course had concussive shot, so I could create a lot of havoc. And 3/4 of that utility was gone in the beginning of the X-Pack. Now, they did bring back the traps, and yes, BM Hunters can do some pretty big damage hiding behind pillars and sicking pets on people, and MM as Lone Wolf can do huge damage in BGs. But here's what I think is the problem, particularly with MM right now, and that is your two big damage abilities, meaning aim shot and your artifact ability, both need to be hard cast, which means you need to stand there like a statue and cast them to do damage. Now, yes, you could go lock and loaded like I have here, but the bottom line is lock and loaded is a proc. You're not going to get it when you need it most of the time, and there are times you're going to need to be mobile. There are a lot of times you need to be mobile. That's the key for avoiding damage for hunters, which is to be mobile, and your two biggest damage abilities have you locked down like a statue, and that's the problem. Now, I wouldn't say you have to make both of them castable on the run, but at least one of them. I really do believe that. It's a very simple fix to bring hunters up to tune. Let me know your thoughts on this. Now, yes, like I said, that's probably the main reason why BM can do what it does, because everything they have is on the run, and they'll just sick their pets on you and go hide somewhere in a closet. Survival is something a lot of people haven't quite figured out yet. I've seen some do extraordinarily well, and I've seen some not do so well in arena and battlegrounds, and very little in between. So right now, that's a spec a lot of people just haven't quite figured out. I think it does work out very well in arena, maybe not so in battlegrounds. And then the thing is, if you're going to play melee, why not just play a DK or a rogue or a warrior for that matter? This is Luxeley saying, whatever it is by you, morning, afternoon, or night, make it epic. Have a great one, guys.